Hello, what's going on? Welcome. How are we all doing? So, my name's IceGrendade. I am a level designer, also a YouTuber. And yeah, today we're going to do a dev stream here with Jezza. Do you want to
I'm
introduce yourself?
Jezza, project lead on Cold Comfort. Yeah,
Cool.
glad that all six of you decided to join us tonight.
Should be good, guys. Should be good. So we're going to go through a few things today. We're going to be going through discussing what makes a good multiplayer map, looking at some designs and critiquing on it, good lighting style examples, aesthetics, and what we're going to try and aim for with the new Angers map. Also, yeah, we'll be demoing bits that are already here, and yeah, then doing a bit of development. So if you have any questions, just ask at any time. Yeah,
Go for it.
let's go for it.
Sweet. So yeah, Angers. Angers is a new map we're working on. It is a prison in the swamps of Louisiana. And it's interesting how it's kind of relevant. Cold Comfort's become very relevant now with what's going on in the world, and especially Angers, because the idea behind Angers is that there is a secret lab in the basement. That's what we want to do. And it is run and operated by Vile. Maybe some of you may have seen that before. Vile is the fictitious organization in the game, pharmaceutical company. And how we've kind of predicted it, which is kind of freaky, is that there's a pandemic that breaks out, the gamma strain, and normally a vaccine takes 18 months to produce. However, Vile has gotten the government contract to do it in record time. So in a matter of months, they're going to do it. And the only way of doing that is to get quote unquote volunteers. So the idea is that a large majority of the prison population in the Angers Correctional Facility have volunteered to offer their bodies for scientific research, if you will. So that is the general gist of the background. So, yeah. Ooh.
Decided to put a bit of music on in the background there.
Okay.
Cool.
So I think before we get too into it, what is your background with zombies, Ice? Tell me, why do you love zombies?
Who am I? What
If
do I
you
do?
get wrong here, this will be a very short stream.
So I grew up around games. Was like being crazy into, yeah, crazy around games. And I think when the first Call of Duty Zombies came out, Knacked, I was sort of hooked. I was playing that on my Xbox all the time. And then I've been playing all the new ones. And then when I got to like about 15, 16, my parents were asking me, what are you going to do with your life? You know, what do you want to do? Do you want to be, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And I sort of just, I didn't really care. I just like games a lot, and I was really interested in games. And I always made it like, growing up, I always like modified this odd games here and there. And it's always something that I've been fascinated with. And so when I got to that age, I thought, well, I want to be a level designer, create games. And so I went into college and I did like a computer course where we did some games design. And yeah, from there, that's where I started level editing in Radiant, making Call of Duty zombie maps. And it sort of went a bit out of control. I've made about 50 odd maps now, and quite a few with some reputation behind it for being like insanely difficult and crazy. So yeah, you might have seen videos of them before, but yeah, it's always good fun, because I sort of I'm quite a creative person because I'm always whenever I sleep, I'm always dreaming about zombies and thinking about some crazy area. And then when I wake up, first thing I want to do, I want to get on that computer and start making this area that I've been dreaming of because there's always these different ideas. So,
but
yeah.
the major question is, do you have a zombie bug out bag?
A bug out bag. What do you mean by that?
I'm kind of losing a little bit of faith in your IceGrendade, because a zombie bug out bag is, if in the case of the zombie apocalypse, you have
Okay.
a bug out bag, which is the bag that you take when shit hits the fan. So if there's a zombie apocalypse, like what would be in your bug out bag? Name 3 items.
I don't actually have a bug out bag. I think the first thing I would do if a zombie apocalypse broke out is I would drive my car to the closest place that sells weapons. Okay, and I'm in England, so there aren't many places. But if there is a fallout like zombie apocalypse, I'm going straight to the local town where I know they sell shotguns to farmers, and I'm going in there and giving them 101 reasons to why I should have a shotgun, you know, and throwing money in their face or whatever. Like, so I can get myself a shotgun, a load of ammo. So they've got number 1 sorted, okay? Protection, okay? Then number 2, I would aim to get all the resources, you know, go straight to the supermarket, long lasting food, fill out the car, and then I would go somewhere and just hold up the place.
So
I don't know.
there's two things I want to mention here before we get into the level design and stuff like that. Is number 1, okay, we obviously a shotgun, interesting choice. Okay,
Yeah, that's all we got in the UK is that, or like BB guns, and I don't think a BB gun's going to touch a zombie, you know.
You know, I was thinking a nail gun would be great, you know, because you could like nail a zombie's hand to a wall, it's like, and like boom, and
true.
That would be good. And number 2, I think, you know, it's actually great with the whole pandemic going on right now, is that we are even more prepared for zombie apocalypse, because one thing that I never thought about having in my bug out bag was toilet paper. You know, I mean, that would totally suck if you didn't have toilet paper.
It's ridiculous, like what has gone on with the toilet paper man. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it in a real scheme of things much. I've always been interested in zombie games. And
oh, wait a minute. Some people are saying that my mic sounds too low. Can you bump my mic up there? Is that possible?
I can do that. Yeah, sure. Maybe I think mine's too high, so I'm gonna bring mine down a little bit. I'll bring yours up. So I think if you say something now.
Something now.
There we go. That's brilliant. Now. I think we're equal on par now. This is good. So he says, I thought you'd reach for a baguette. Well, depends how old that baguette is, okay? If it's fresh, no, that's a bad plan. But if it's been there for a month, yes, that would kill someone, that baguette. You know, just get a stone and sharpen that thing, and you'll be doing quite well.
Oh, so Zombie Killer is here, so I'd be interested to know what Zombie Killer would have as a weapon.
I happen to know Zombie Killer and 8 Coats. How you guys doing?
I think you're mispronouncing his name. It's Killer.
Killer.
How you doing, guys? Cool. We need to hear Jezza's reaction loud and clear. We need. Whoa! This is a PG-13 stream.
Yes. Beer and shotgun. Okay. Well, number 1 is sorted. I have refreshments for today. Yeah.
We are not condoning the use of alcohol consumption for underage people.
Of course.
So we are all consenting adults here.
I didn't say that was beer. This is
apple juice.
Yeah.
Or urine. You know, apparently that's a really healthy thing to drink. If it's come to that. Okay. So, regarding Angers, do you have that video to show the concept art? Because the thing is, we were talking so much about what Angers can be and what it should be, which are sometimes 2 different things. And for those of you who don't know, usually the first step, what you do, you have your brainstorming sessions. What do we want to do here? And then the most important thing is getting the concept artist to put together some initial concepts, images to inspire and to say, okay, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're aiming for. And so we've done that, and we've got a really, really cool artist, Damna. He's done basically all the concept art for Cold Comfort and also our other game, Rough Justice. Some really, really amazing stuff. And the funny thing is, when if you look at the first one he did for us and you look at the last one, it's pretty much similar. So it's important that we maintain a good identity of the game throughout the development process. Sure, things change and everything, but is it up and running now?
Yeah, I've got it here. So
Ooh.
there we go.
Nice. Although I'm watching, I can see the stream, but there's a delay, so I guess I can't really see.
You should.
Has anyone? Oh, there it is up there. Ooh. Anyone notice the awesome rotating CC up on the top? That's our little pride and joy there. Good stuff. So yeah, Swamp, a prison that's seen better days. And there we go. We have Arachna in the belly of the beast. Oh yes. So what do you think, guys? Zombie alligators? Has that been done before? I'm sure it has, right?
I can't think of any game with zombie alligators. Like, they're frightening enough, you know, if you happen to come across one. Like from the UK, obviously alligators, you got to go a long way to find an alligator. So I don't know if you live by them, it might be a different vibe. But in the UK, of course, yeah, you don't want to get near those. And then also, yeah, zombie ones. Like what? If their jaws already open like this, okay, so are they gonna, you know, how?
Is it? I mean, alligators are really scary to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, is zombifying them, does it make it worse, or does it equal out?
Something that would give people real nightmares, like zombie alligators. You know, you could have the teeth really like enlarged and. Yeah.
Well, they've done that. They've done that in what's that one with the zombie? They've got the zombie dogs, where they're like mutated and stuff like that.
Zombie dogs.
Zombie dogs.
I know Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. There you go. Resident Evil.
God, I played that for ages. I love Resident Evil. It's so good.
Oh, I totally want to play now.
Yeah. Yeah, scrap the developer. Let's just bring up some games.
Yeah, so there you go. You see the rat there, Vile, and everything. Oh, so this is an electric substation that we're looking at right now. And the cool thing about this map, why don't you tell everybody the initial concept of what we're thinking with the map?
You go for it.
Oh, you want me to go for it? Okay. So the survivors will be spawning inside of the prison, and the Gamma Primes will be spawning outside of the prison. And there are 3 access points to the prison. Each access point has a gate or a door, and you need to put in 3 fuses at each access point to lower the door. So all the doors are open at the beginning of the map. You need to find fuses, put them in there. Now, there aren't enough fuses to close all 3 of them, so you're going to have to look for fuses. Now, the other thing of the map is that there's going to be a big incinerator in there, and different than Seneca. So this POI, this point of interest, is this huge incinerator, and in the base of the incinerator, when the infection happened, the prison guards basically put all of the infected prisoners and some of the guards in there, and they were going to incinerate them, but they didn't have enough fuses. So it's your responsibility to either rescue the remaining civilians that are still alive, and hopefully get rid of all the zombies. Now, you can close those doors off and those gates off by looking for the fuse and close them off, and then buy it a little bit of time. But all these doors and gates, there are 3 substations outside of the map. And so if these substations are destroyed by the Gamma Primes, then the doors will open. It takes a long time to destroy them. Brute is probably the only one that's strong enough to do that within a reasonable amount of time. But working together, 3 Gamma Primes destroying 1 substation, it should be doable in a few minutes. But that calls for coordination, and that's the whole idea of Cold Comfort, being able to work together for a common goal. So with those ideas in mind, we're going to see how we can devise a multiplayer map with those concepts.
Yeah, and there are some really cool ideas for plans for what sort of different parts of the environment are going to be. I like the idea of a prison near a swamp. I haven't heard of a prison near a swamp, so should be really cool. And also, yeah, the railway line.
Yes, the railway line.
Yeah,
That's
there's
gonna
the
be
alligator
really
there.
cool. Really cool. Cool. I think some of the challenges of devising a map are you think, okay, I've got these cool ideas, and sometimes you've got to kill your darlings. So this is our initial concept right now, and this is having a goal and aiming for that goal is one thing, but knowing when to call it quits at going in a certain direction and to reevaluate is important.
That's one of the toughest things as well, is the cutbacks and effectively managing time and making decisions to not take, because you can take an infinite amount of time on a level to try and perfect it and make it perfect, but you really shouldn't do that. And it's there's a certain level where you should get it and sort of be good with it.
And also because it's a multiplayer map, you're gonna have choke points, and so all those choke points need to be devised. Where are the points of contention, and are those points of contention as opposed to, say, Counter-Strike, where you've got A and B, and so it's very, very clear when you've got those things and what needs to be done. It's a very simplistic version. Whereas I kind of view that as checkers, and the tactics involved in Cold Comfort is more like 3D chess in that regard. And so devising all those things in the map is important, and it's always that balance as well. Like, we want it to look good and have a nice atmospheric feel to it, but we can't do that, be over the top, and have the gameplay suffer because of it. So, yeah. Maybe we can take a look at some other multiplayer maps and how they're designed.
Mm-hmm. You can do that.
So some of them, are super, super complicated, but a lot of the popular maps, they're pretty simplistic in nature. And I think any level designer, when you start making a map and you want to make it more complex, but I think it's always important to go back to reality and do this reality check and say, okay, we need to make sure that the game flow is the primary focus. Do we have any questions there? So, is there any weapon crafting involved, like buildable traps? No, there are not. But each survivor has, so basically in Cold Comfort, you've got persistent character progression. So you mentioned traps, and every survivor is going to have their own sets of gadgets and their gadget tree, which you'll be able to unlock. And now when I say tree, I don't want you to think that, the more you unlock, the better they're going to be. It's an asymmetrical game, and it's all about balance. And so we're always going to be nerfing things and changing things around. Not too much, of course, but, it's got to be fun and balanced. So, for instance, one of the characters, Tinker, he has a man trap and a bear trap initially, and those are really cool, but he'll have other gadgets as well. So, for instance, I could play Tinker just Tinker if I wanted to, for 6 months, and there will be enough material and content there to persistently unlock. And when I play Tinker, it's going to be super, super different than how you play Tinker, because not only my cosmetic upgrades, what I look like is going to be different, but the weapon I have, and Tinker will have a number of weapons that are Tinker specific, that no one else has. A few of the weapons, there'll be a crossover, but for the most part, there will be the weapons will be character specific. So my shotgun for Tinker is going to look a lot different than yours, because you can modify weapons, and those are things that you don't do on the fly in the game. You actually do that in the menu. So it's a little bit different than perhaps what you're thinking of, but I think a good analogy is how you do it in a lot of other games. Rainbow Six Siege comes to mind, how you can tweak your gun, put different mods on there, and charms or whatever. They're called charms, right?
Yes, and the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 with the charms. Pretty cool.
I don't know if I answered your question. Oh, I'm reading through the website right now about the two factions. Yes. Okay, that wasn't a question.
Okay, so now we have the maps on the screen. What is this image here that you
I
found?
think this is like this is designing a Counter-Strike map.
Oh,
You got
okay.
A and B, and it's all about the game flow. And you can't really read the chicken scratch.
Yeah, well, I think it is really, it's really important to start off like this on the drawing board. Never start with the aesthetics, never start with the lighting or the elements within the map. Like, you can have some things planned loosely, but when it comes to the actual layout, it's really important to draw it out and to get a feel for it and to make sure that it's all right in timing, so it's fair for each team, and so that each different route that you take is just as fun to play. If you take one route and it's full of amazing fun things, you take another route and it's just a dark alley that has not much detail, people are going to pick the fun route all the time. You know, maybe some people pick the dark route, depends on their personality, but you want to have it broken up and each one as interesting as the other, and so that players will want to make those decisions each time they play, you know. So I would want to pick route A, and then for the second half of the match I want to pick route B or something, and whatever seems right. And I think another concept as well that I think Treyarch have done quite well is the 3 routes. You know, you see that in a lot of maps.
Yeah.
Give players a choice. You know, it's really important to give players a choice. If everything's laid out before them, they're going to get bored. You know, players want to be able to make decisions, do things, and feel that feeling of accomplishment of, oh, I picked the right way to go. And every little chance you can give someone to make a choice to do something and it works out in their favor is all to do with like feedback. And I think, I've actually there's a really interesting report about epic wins and how gamers have that feeling when, you know, they force themselves into a game where their brain's telling them they're not going to win, and when they do pull it off, it's that huge dopamine release and feel great feeling.
Oh yes,
you know.
Yeah. So. Interestingly enough, you were talking about modifying those things and checking those out. We're talking right now with GenVid technology, which is a really cool add-on for Unreal and for Unity. But basically what it would do is it allows viewers to watch a multi-stream. So for instance, in the case of Cold Comfort, you would have 10 streams going parallel, and so you can switch back and forth to each player. And not only that, but you can look on the map and you can see a heat map. You can see where the majority of bullets were shot, where the majority of deaths happened, where people are majority of the time camping out. And having data like that to analyze, it's crucial also not only in the game design and the iteration of maps, but also with Cold Comfort. It's not like, wham, bam, thank you, man, we're done with the map, we're going to do it. We need to make sure that the maps are fun and continue to be fun, and we need to tweak them. It's always that process of tweaking, because this is an online multiplayer game. And so we want people to, remember there's certain maps that people just don't play a lot, and there's a reason for that. And so either you cut back down to those, the basic maps, and I think quite often, quantity isn't better than quality, and having a few core maps that are really well thought out and good. And that's the whole process of what we're doing right now, and that's why we're doing a stream of this. And I know for the people that are just joining, it may not look super exciting what we're doing, but this is part of our community outreach, and we're talking to people and like, hey, what do you think? What's important for you, and how multiplayer maps are designed? What would you like to see? And we're not going to design. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to design a map like tonight and be done with it. This is more of the conceptual phase right now, and talking about what makes a good multiplayer map. Are you able to swap loadouts between characters? You mean in the game, like when you're playing? No.
But there is the evolution system, right? That's something. Or is that for
that? So that is a complete. The Levolution, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, Levolution in the sense of Anger's map is that the simple fact that you can close these gates, and then these gates can be opened up again by the usage, by destroying these substations. There's a drawbridge that goes to the main gate, and that is another evolutionary mechanic, so that like you as a player, as a survivor, you think to yourself, I can use these 3 fuses, and I can put it in the fuse box and then flip the switch and then raise the drawbridge to the prison. That would buy me a little bit of time. Or I can save these fuses and put it on the gate. Or I can, do both. But then this is only one side of the map, one of the 3 enterable locations that are blocked. And so using that from a tactical perspective, you say, okay, Ice and Jezza, we're going to go to the main gate. We're going to put the drawbridge up so they can't get over it. And once they do get over it, or they get through the swamp, or through all the underbrush, and they finally get to the gate, we're going to be there to guard it. And everybody else, you need to guard all the other 2 entrances, so you can more or less funnel the enemy to a certain direction. And I think that is a nice tactic to use. Is that what you were talking about? I don't know if I totally ignored your question.
I was thinking more like with Seneca and the rat to zombie to,
Oh, that.
Yeah, so the way you can change what
so
you're playing
yeah
is.
So I did hear you correctly the first time. Evolution. Yeah. So the whole idea, for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept of Cold Comfort, you can play as either a survivor or as a Gamma Prime. Now, survivor, we've been talking a little bit about. They've got their own weapons and their gadgets and their skills. Whereas the Gamma Prime, so if we go through and we select the Gamma Primes that we want to play, which are these mutated zombies, what ends up happening is when the game starts, you always start out as a rat. You think to yourself, oh, is this a rat simulator or something? No, but also for the simple fact that it's a zombie game, but when the game starts, there are no zombies. You, as a Gamma Prime, you're embodying the rat. So if you will, you are the virus. So at this stage, you are embodying the rat. You need to go through and you need to bite corpses, and you need to activate the dormant virus within them. When you bite them, the virus is activated, they stand up as AI zombies, and they start roaming around. And they actually do your dirty work for you. They will find civilians and attack them. They will find survivors and attack them. What you can also do as a rat, you can bite civilians. Now, the time from the bite to the actual transformation to zombie is a lot longer for a civilian. So you can use that to your tactical advantage. You can bite some civilians. They can be found by survivors. They can be put in a safe spot, and say one of them was bitten. The survivors will be like, all right, you guys stay here. We'll be right back. And then they come back, and everyone's a zombie because one of the guys turned. So you can use that to your advantage. And then what you can do also as a Gamma Prime, you can play the whole thing as a rat if you wanted to, or you can then bite a zombie, then you embody that zombie. You can play the rest of the map as a zombie, and then you can choose when you want to evolve into a Gamma Prime. So, is it complicated? I don't know, but it's a completely different game mechanic. I think somewhat similar to Natural Selection 2, where you've got these different things and phases that you can choose. Oh yeah, Arachna. Well, it's funny with Arachna because every time I play with Zadie, she's always like, I'm Arachna. I'm like, well, you hate spiders. Why are you Arachna? She's like, if I play Arachna, I don't have to look at her.
That is very true. I always find myself sort of going towards the survivors, though, the survivors group, because I don't know, I like shooting zombie-looking things. And
it's a really good feeling. It's a really good feeling. And an interesting thing with how we're designing it right now is it's not a slugfest, so ammunition is limited. So you really need to question whether are you going to take the shot? Is it worth taking the shot or not? And am I going to waste a bullet on a zombie, or should I just bash its head in? That might be a better thing to do. Because when you see Brute barreling at you, I panic. I panic all the time. Or if you're going to the extraction point, if you're going to the extraction point and you look up and Arachna jumps down on you, that is terrifying. So for those of you who don't know, Arachna, she's like half human, half zombie, half monster. So it's a lot of halves, but you get the idea. She's a mutated Spiderling woman, and she can. The cool game mechanic which we have right now in the prototype already is that she can scale up walls. So you can go up on the wall of a building and just chill out, and you can turn around and you can look down, and then you can wait until the conga line of civilians are being taken to the extraction point and go down and infect all of them. So we need to work on the conga line because all the civilians, they go in a line, right, following each other. They're very well organized, you know.
So with that amount, I really do like how you can play very like loads of different ways. You know, you could take the stance of just trying to sort out the threats, or you could try and just take the stance of trying to evacuate as quickly as you can.
Right.
And yeah, and then you. I found it really rewarding when you manage to shoot a rat because they're so small. But
it pisses me off too. I'm always like, I'm a rat. Nobody can shoot me, and then bam, you're dead.
I think I got you a couple times. So.
Yeah, you did. So a little heads up for everybody. A little secret is that we are going to be having a dev stream of 4 devs playing Cold Comfort in the future, in the near future. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay up on the updates. And yeah, it's going to be cool. We're not going to show off too much stuff. It is still the early prototype, but it's actually fun to play, even as a prototype. It's a 5v5 when. So really quick, regarding the 5v5, this isn't like Counter. I keep on using Counter-Strike as a bad example. It's actually a great game. But with Counter-Strike, all 10 of the characters are exactly the same. They're just reskinned. So all the rigging is the same. All the weapons are more or less the same. And you're using the same skeleton. With Cold Comfort, that is not the case at all. No 2 characters are the same. We have custom animations, custom rigging, custom UVs for every single character, and custom weapons, and abilities and skills. So it's not just plug and play. So for the simple fact that we were able to pull off a 2v2, having 4 out of the 10 characters in the prototype, I'm super stoked about that. So it's definitely an improvement to have just 1. So yeah, level 2.
So yeah, this is you'd say the starts, right, of the map. Some ideas and stuff that you've put together.
This is a sketch. Well, you know what we can actually do right now? I think would be really cool if we work in Notepad a little bit and we can talk about paths and choke points and how we can do it. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Notepad or paint to draw.
Or whatever's even. Yeah. Yes, I want you to draw in Notepad.
Well,
that would take a long time.
Thing. Yeah. Let's go to paint.
And also, what I'm thinking it would be really cool is if these, we're talking about the 3 access points to the prison. And I think it would be, from a gameplay perspective, it would be really nice if they were all at different heights. So I'm thinking that one of the access points is like a drain tunnel. So you need to go into the river and then in the water through this tunnel until you get to dry land with it in. So you need to break through a grate or something. That would be cool. And then you've got the main gate, and then I guess a back door somewhere, or obviously it'd be cool if there was a higher access point. But I think having those variations of height would be nice to spice things up a little bit. Oh, zombie killer is bouncing. All right, no worries. Oh, we got 17 people. Does anyone have any questions about Cold Comfort? Or about what the heck we're doing here?
I was going to get some of the concept art up on the screen as well.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. No questions. Will all Gamma Primes have different abilities? Yes. So, yeah, I mentioned before that, if I play Tinker and you play Tinker, that it's going to be different. We're going to have different weapons and different loadouts and different skills. The same goes for the Gamma Primes. So, for instance, I'm going to talk about Arachna again. One of her abilities is Spiderlings. So she can lay these spider eggs, and she'll have 3 of them, and she can lay them throughout the map and then choose when all 3 of them hatch. So what you can do is you can go to the north, east, south, or whatever, place them, and once they hatch, these are AI Spiderlings, very similar to the zombies, but the benefit of those having is that when the Spiderlings see a civilian, that pops up on your mini-map when you're playing as Arachna, so you know where they are. When you see a survivor, they pop up in the mini-map, and they will continue to do so unless they're killed. And the cool thing about it is that she can lay those eggs, and then there's a cooldown, and then she can lay them again. So it's not one of those things where it's just like, you're done laying eggs. So you can keep on doing that. And then it very well could be that you don't like the spider eggs. Yeah, no problem. There are other abilities that she's going to have. Of course, spiders have webs, for instance, which would be really cool. One thing we're working on right now with Arachna as well is, we've got the vertical being able to walk on the walls, but we haven't got yet is the transition from wall to ceiling. And that's going to be really, really cool because there's a lot of tunnels. So imagine you're going through a tunnel and then, she can be hanging up upside down and scare the bejesus out of you. So what the heck are you doing here, Jezza? What am I doing here? Oh, you mean because I'm just like shooting the shit here? Oh, so yeah, here is the original concept, not the concept art, the blueprints for Angers. We got this from the Louisiana Prison Authority from 1967. No. This is what Damna put together. Yeah, actually, what are the ideas down there? Let's take a look at those. Can you even read that?
Survivors gain advantages with accumulation of fuses on the generator, 2 fuses, CCTV camera, 4 fuses, electric fences, 6 fuses, electric door system and elevator, 8 fuses, underground train station.
So I totally forgot about the electric fences. So when we talked about the substations, right, which aren't on this version, so these substations will have electric fences on there. So it's always the question of what are we going to do? So let's just say there's X amount of fuses. So what can you do with those fuses? You can activate the electric fence for each substation if you want to. You can lock the doors for each of these 3 entrances. You can activate the CCTV so you can get a better overview of what's going on. So the thing is, if you don't work together and coordinate those things, then you're more or less boned. Because if ICE says, oh, well, screw you, Jezza, I really want the CCTV. And I'm like, are you crazy? Why would you do that? Well, we can use the electric fence, And then if you're bickering about that, and you're losing valuable time. And that's time when the other team, if they're coordinated enough, they'll say, okay, we're going to go this access route. That's exactly what we're going to do. And then you can gun it. Is there a challenge-based mission activities available to enhance progression? Is there a ranking up system in place to unlock stronger upgrades? A ranking up system in place to unlock stronger upgrades. So you're not going to like this. So the answer is a challenge-based mission. We are talking about other mission types, which we will reveal at a later date. But because this is a competitive game, we need to be careful with allocating offline resources or even co-op resources, because there's a chance of people ganking the system and just getting, a crazy amount of points. So what the part you're not going to like about it, or another part you're not going to like about it, is there is a really cool mechanic that, say I'm playing as Gamma Prime and IceGrendade is a survivor. I can wound him so much that his hit points are 0, but he doesn't die. He goes into a downed state. Now, what he can do in a downed state is he can call for help, he can crawl around, but that's it. What I can do as a Gamma Prime is I can drag him around wherever I want. So I can basically use him as bait. What I can also do is I can lock onto him and I can farm him for DNA points. Now, as a Gamma Prime, I can't do anything with these DNA points. But when the game is over with, these DNA points I can use to upgrade my survivors. The same goes for the fact when we're playing as survivors and we kill a Gamma Prime. for X amount of time, there will be GNA goo on the ground, which, if you put it in a vial, you'll be collecting that GNA. That does sound crazy, I know. And, you know, is it too complicated? I don't think so. Because, I mean, every game has its complications to it. And I think if you get the hang of it, you know, I've talked to people in theory about Cold Comfort, and they're like, this is really complicated. And then they play the game, they're like, oh, this makes so much sense. So it's like, and, you know, just like the evolutionary phases of going from a rat to a zombie to a gamma prime, does it make logical sense? Well, no, you're playing a rat, and then, how do you as the player get from a rat to the zombie? Well, I mean, you can say you embody, you are the virus, and so you are embodying one host and going to another host, and all the gamma primes are working together as the virus, as a virus does. And there are different strains of viruses, right? So I think that is the arachnophobia intensified. Can you have two players playing the same type of gamma prime in the same match? No, that is not possible. So you're probably asking yourself, well, that's totally sucks because I always want to play Arachna, so I don't have to look at her. And there's only 5 gamma primes. Well, yes, there are 5 gamma primes when the game is in early access. But when we get to the full release, there will be more. And what you'll also do from a matchmaking perspective is you can always say, I would prefer to play this character. But don't forget, this is a game designed to play with friends. Very similar to, I mean, you know, with using Rainbow Six Siege as another example, is the first time I played Rainbow Six Siege, I got kicked from the server because I played like an asshat. Because I was just doing my thing, soloing, blah, blah, blah. And people were like, dude, you have a role, you have things to do that we expect you to do. And the same goes for playing for Cold Comfort. So every role has a position to fulfill. And it all comes down to balancing as well. So I don't know if I answered your question. Did I answer your question? Did I answer the question? Maybe. Ooh, so what are we doing here?
Optimizing collisions. So
yes.
Optimization
but wait a minute. If you put the collision up on top, that means Arachna, if she walks on the wall, she'll hit that collision.
That is true. You gotta, that is very true. Yeah. Okay.
You can just bump that down. You can just, although, and then if you do the back, the rat can't go through the back then either. Right? If you had the collision going through from the pipe to the wall.
I need to rethink my collision ways because I'm used to zombies and players, not.
Yeah.
But no, that's very true.
Yeah. So Zadie pointed out Kerr is another one. He can do a bounce, or a pounce, ounce, lounce, crounce. Yeah. So, the other thing is what I wanted to say there. I lost my train of thought. So, like I mentioned before about Rainbow Six Siege, I quickly realized that playing that game with friends is beneficial. And it's one of the only few games where I've actually added people to my friends list, like after a game, because I liked the way they played or communicated with me. And most games, you don't do that. You know, you don't play Left 4 Dead or Counter-Strike and you say, oh, well, I really like the way you use this gun. Because the amount of tactics involved, it's like, unless you're a rushing asshat, then you're a good player. But being able to do that, it's really important. And so if you say to yourself, I always want to play Arachna, well, sure, if you're going to play with 4 of your other friends, assuming you have 4 other friends, then you can always say, then for this evening while we play, I'm going to be Arachna. And then what you can do is you can go up against an other pre-made team. So say tomorrow night you want to be a bunch of survivors, and then we'll put together our team of survivors. And let's be honest with each other. When you play a game like Rainbow Six Siege, do you really bounce around from character to character to character? No. And when you play with your friends, it's a rarity that you're going to find 2 people in a group of friends who are bickering about that they both want to play the same character. Usually one will say, okay, well, tonight I'll play one, and you play it tomorrow night. And so going back also to the fact that, some people were like, well, everyone's going to want to play the Gamma Primes. Well, sure. But if you want to be able to upgrade your Gamma Primes faster, you're going to have to play as a survivor and extract the GNA. So we're creating this balancing issue there where we're kind of forcing your hand. I know it seems kind of mean, but I think it's for the benefit of the game as well. So it is balanced, because that would totally suck if we want to play a multiplayer game and like 80% of the people want to play survivors. If that's the case, then we've screwed up as developers, that we haven't made playing Gamma Primes fun enough. So, but I think that we did a survey a while ago, and I think 180 people answered the survey, which is really, really cool. And what totally shocked me, the percentage of people that wanted to play survivors and the percentage of people that wanted to play Gamma Primes. What do you guys think it is? Write the number down there. What percentage survivors? What do you guys think?
I have no idea what that number is. I would say 70% survivors. But I don't know, that's because I've got a bias towards playing as a survivor in the zombie games that I used to.
Well, that's an oxymoron in itself. You love zombies, but you don't want to play them.
I like shooting zombies. I don't know if I like zombies, but I like zombies. Yeah.
It was actually, I shit you not, it was 51% want to play survivors.
Oh, that's really good.
Which is crazy. It blew my mind. Okay, like I said, there's only like 180 people. But I mean, it was like, how is that even possible?
Yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah. Crazy. Maybe Gamma Prime's less amount purely down to not only being a zombie. What does that mean? Somehow. Can you translate that for me? Or can you rephrase your question, please? I'm not quite sure I get it. The table's turning in the game. I mean, we've actually had... Oh, gosh. Ah!
I like this.
Yeah.
Did you pose all of these?
Yeah, it was fun. Jailhouse Rock. Cue up Elvis here.
Well, that guy's seen better days.
So another cool thing is, let's go back to that cell block here. So imagine as a Gamma Prime, you're coming through here. That the survivors have their fuses, right? So what you can do as a Gamma Prime is you can go to every single cell and break the lock and let those zombies out. So the more zombies you have, the better, because they not only attack civilians and turn them into zombies, but they also will attack survivors. So having these many objectives, those decisions, too many decisions, it's not actually too many decisions, it's like too many different possibilities of what you could do. And if you're not coordinated enough to do it, then you will fail.
As a survivor, would you shoot the zombies in there, or could you take like a portable welder and just weld the doors?
Oh my God. Well, Tinker, that's a great skill for Tinker to have, a portable welder.
Yeah.
But you got to be super careful with that, because that could totally be misappropriated, unless you do it, that you say these are highlighted. Once you have that activated, then the weldable things are highlighted, which is a little bit cheesy, because it's kind of like, well, it's metal, so I can weld it, right? Why don't I just weld all the doors of the prison? So. I know. No mannequins were harmed during the production of Cold Comfort.
Many were harmed.
No! No. So, just off the top of your head, bearing in mind that you're going to be having 10 players, so 5 survivors, 5 zombies, and AI, from a scaling perspective, what do you think about this so far? Bearing in mind, there's no exterior pieces. This is just interior so far.
Yes.
The incinerator isn't built yet.
I think it could be a bit big, but it's also hard to tell with AI because they're like having more players. So yeah, it's important to not get it wrong. If you have it too big, then you might lose out on the fun factor. You know, if players take too long to complete a round. So
yes,
I would suggest either shorten it down a little bit in places.
Yeah, we can totally do that.
But yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not looking for battlefield size maps. That's not the issue here. But I'm also not looking for, like a CS:GO map. Those are very, very small maps, and the idea is also like with Seneca. Seneca is a pretty big map, and so far, and right now for the prototype, I think we've exposed 40% of the map. And how I've designed Cold Comfort, or my vision of it, is that I don't want this to be a constant firefight and you always running into people. I want it to be that if we play our cards right, if we're smart, we can actually get to the objective and not see anybody. You know what I mean?
Be a pacifist and avoid.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean,
I have a friend that plays games like that. He literally plays Modern Warfare Warzone and goes in there to try and win without killing anyone. But and yeah, it's however people want to play it. It's good to have that sort of option, make it possible. Definitely.
And it's also interesting because when we talk about the concept of Cold Comfort and what it is. Recently someone was like, "Oh, well, it's a horror gore game," and I was like, "Okay, just because there's zombies in it doesn't mean that it's a gory, bloody game." Quite often less is more, and I think having that implied fear factor it's really, really important. And the impending doom, the fear of impending doom, and for me, that's the whole concept of Cold Comfort. Also, the name itself, like you're boned, but let's see, there's a bit of solace in there. Are we boned or not? And I think a really good example of that is if you watch The Thing. The Thing with Kurt Russell. Remember that movie?
I can't think of it.
Oh my God! So basically, they're in the basement of the Antarctic research center, and everything is aflame, everything's burning, they're all gonna die. But he's like, "Oh, I found a bottle of Jack Daniels, so I can, here, let's have some whiskey." So that, for me, that's a cold comfort. It's kind of like, I'm gonna die anyways, but at least I'm gonna go down happy. So, ooh, see what we're doing here. So you're kind of like emulating what we did before, what we did in the map, the overview.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for a prison layout. I really like the design you see in a lot of places where you have a central guard station that can overview all the cell blocks. I think it's quite a common prison design.
Oh, what would be really, really cool? Because we're talking about this incinerator the whole time. If you can actually climb up that, and if you're Pickett, if you're the sniper, you can actually use that and as an outlook, and have a really good overview of the map and pick people off as well.
Yeah, you could do that.
And because we put the glass, all of the windows, the skylights in there, she can shoot through there and shoot zombies that are in there, at least in the big cell blocks.
Well, how big are you thinking for this?
I'll leave that up to you. Bigger than that. No, I don't know.
Because, yeah, I was thinking...
Don't forget, there's also the wall, right? There's the wall around, which we need to take into consideration.
Yeah, that's true. I mean...
And it's also interesting devising a realistic map barrier, because with Seneca, it was easy because it's kind of like we'll put a fence up and some army barricades at the end of the street to signify that you can't go any further here. But if this is taking place outside of a swamp, then we're going to have to rely heavily on foliage and trees to create that natural border.
Like an outhouse. So these are the different cell blocks here.
Okay. Ooh, I like that. CB. In my CB.
Guard tower. Well, main guard area. Might be a good idea to look at some images
from Damna, the ones he put together.
Well, yeah.
Or real ones, you mean? Real guard tower.
I was gonna look at real images. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have a look.
I remember when the levels looked like that in the early days. My granddaddy used to design video games. That's what they look like.
So here we got a lovely selection of.
Oh yeah. Wait, who's TC Rumble?
Overview. So here's a similar sort of design here. Like on here, you can see that we got the main guard station.
Mando, what's up, Mando? Woo! Oh yeah, so sorry, yeah. Oh, I like that.
So we got the main guard station in the middle here, and then you have different cell blocks here. So that as a guard, you don't have to move around, and then you can always have eyes on the prisoners, and it's
so. Where would the incinerator be, in your opinion?
Maybe in a. You can have it in a.
Do you think
like sort of here, like off here? So you have.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Got another set of blocks here.
And do you think? I think in this picture there's 5 wings, right? In the big one.
Yeah, you got 5 wings.
Seems like a lot of wings, doesn't it?
It's a big prison.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this sort of design. You can have as many legs to it as you like, but it has a central guard station. That way they can save money on the amount of.
I think 3. I think 3 would be nice. Otherwise, it gets a little complicated.
Sure.
Yeah, and I like the idea of where you've got the main entrance there, or like the offices.
Just cool. Here, yeah.
Yeah.
That could work quite well. You could have the office, have a small canteen breakout room for the guards.
For the guards, yeah.
And an office, computer systems and stuff.
Really quick, so Mando, I just wanted to point out briefly that right now with Cold Comfort, we have gotten rid of practically all the marketplace assets. The only marketplace assets that we're using currently are some of the vehicles, and we're in the process of phasing those out, even those out. And vehicles in Cold Comfort are props, more or less, because you can't drive vehicles in Cold Comfort. So they're just placeholders right now. So yeah, from an optimization standpoint, creating everything from scratch is like way better, of course. And having only a few master materials is probably a good idea, not having 50,000. All right, so I like this idea. The guard tower.
Got another one here, similar design.
That's like a racetrack for like, it's like, and prison number 347 is coming to lead.
Well, I like how you got that with the wall around it. So yeah, I think in its simplest form, have 3 like this. In my head I was thinking you can have this as like a gated sort of yard, basically, for the prisoners to stretch their legs or whatever, the yard.
Sure.
And here, yeah, you could have like almost like a football pitch looking field, but with, you could have an underground section maybe. So maybe have a digged out area that links up with the tunnels and the sewers.
Ooh.
So just to give another little mix in it. So yeah, you were thinking of having the train station somewhere. And
so we can think about having the train station underground or not, because I think it would make sense, because that would hook up with the labs which are in the basement. Otherwise, if you're transporting people there, then they have to go through the prison system. But having a direct access line for the experiments might be a good idea.
Yeah. So if we have a underground. Yeah, gonna draw a very to scale train line here.
I saw that the survivors have unique weapons on the website, and after watching the trailer, are there any special weapons that are only available in certain situations, and a specific weapon that would have more advantages over others? Yeah, no. I mean, are you talking about like a huge chainsaw or a weapon drop or what? I mean, no, I don't know what that means. I mean, it is going to be a balancing issue, a balancing act of making sure that all these weapons are balanced. But if you can imagine, to simplify things a little bit, if each weapon has 5 stats, right? And just simple data entry here. So each weapon has 5 stats, and each stat has a maximum of 5 points, right? And each weapon has a total of 15 points to divvy up. Then you have, mathematically, you can figure out the different variations. Some will have better handling, some have worse handling, the recoil will be better. That's a very, very simplistic way of doing it. But that's how balancing is done in a nutshell. That you're making sure that if you give them one thing, you're taking away something else, which then can be counterbalanced with certain mods. So it's always the fine tuning. So, I mean, I remember, and I know that can be super, super annoying because if I don't know if any of you played The Division, you had the striker set in The Division. If you had all 5 pieces of the striker set, then it was like dope. You could just like melt people away. And so you're grinding, you're finally getting all the stuff, and then they're like, yeah, no, the striker set's like, oh, way too OP, we're just gonna tweak it, nerf it. And you're like, great. I just like wasted like 3 weeks of my life. Awesome. Because, oh my god, that's it. Was that it?
What's that?
That looks really nice.
Yeah.
Boom. I really like that. Did I answer your question, 8 coats? Hey coach, did I answer your question?
I'm trying to work out what this is. So they got a football pitch here, or a soccer pitch for those Americans, and a small little park here. Looks like this is gated quite far out here. I'm not too sure.
I mean, you know what we can do to make it so it's not too bland? I mean, all these prison movies from like the 50s or something like that. It's kind of like, we're in prison. We're breaking rocks in the hot sun. We have our shackles on and our pickaxes. So we can have a pile of rocks. And I know that seems really cheesy, but just to vary things up, you can have like a quarry,
Yeah, I'm kind of looking for pictures of guard towers in the corners as well, which you see in a lot of movies.
How come there aren't any? Do they just trust the prisoners so incredibly?
I think so. Like what I'm expecting, like what you see in films, is you'll have a guard tower here where they'll shoot anyone that tries to run away.
Exactly.
And like you got another one here, and you probably got one.
What kind of Mickey Mouse prison is this?
Yeah, they got trees here, so this is a luxury.
Trees.
Yeah. I'm guessing this is some either workshop or factory thing.
A sweatshop. It's a sweatshop. Let's be honest, okay? I know not to get too political here. Actually, that's not true. I'm going to get very political here. The prison industry in America is one of the fastest growing industries, which, if you put that into perspective, that's ridiculous.
that these prisons most of them are privately owned and operated. And so you go to a prison in Louisiana, and sure, the Louisiana state put you there, but a private company is responsible for your well-being. And I think there's a huge conflict of interest there, because it's their responsibility to their stakeholders to have as many people in the prison system as possible, because they're getting paid for that by the state. So it's just it seems like it's just a dichotomy of like, why would you do that? You know, you're arresting people for non-violent offenses and for drug misdemeanors and putting them in jail, and just so we can have more money and let's build more prisons. And so I think there is some social commentary to be had here, and also an overcrowding of prisons. So the understanding is that it is balancing is key, although Zadie is to make it so that people don't have any unfair advantage. Well, yeah. I mean, someone's got to crack the whip, right? I thought you were drawing something else there for a second.
Yeah, I was trying to not make it look like that. So this is a surface point here for
Give CP a completely new meaning.
a sewer system. I'm thinking
Oh,
connects the
ooh, I
underground.
like it.
Maybe there's
Hey, wait a minute. Can you just do different colors to differentiate the different levels?
yeah. I was originally. I was doing the grey for underground,
Oh, I see it now. Yeah.
and
okay,
black
never
for underground, and then I was gonna do blue for the sewer. But yeah, and then there could be multiple ways this links up. So I need to loosely draw a out of bounds area. The main wall. This is what these four things are here at the towers. That was kind of thing.
Okay. I mean, screw reality, because I totally agree with you. I'm on your side there. We need guard towers, right? We can look at our references, and if they say there's no guard towers, well, screw that. It's a game. We can make as many guard towers as we want. Well, don't go overboard.
These aren't guard towers. These are just
Oh, okay.
the main gate system.
And also, would that be annoying if the electric substations that control the three entrances are not set close to that particular entrance? Does that make sense? That like if it's
you can have it here somewhere, just outside of the prison.
No, but there would be three of them, right?
Okay.
So I mean, of course, I don't know who designed this prison, because that makes no sense from a security standpoint.
Yeah.
We want to break into prison. All we need to do is destroy 3 electric substations, and all prisoners can escape. That's my impersonation of a Russian mob boss trying to break out people, as one does in the swamps of Louisiana. Oh, wait, where is the incinerator?
We haven't got to that yet.
Ah, okay.
Maybe have a break in the fence here. Break over.
Now, would they call it an incinerator? I guess, right?
Might be easier to just do some really simple block out to start making this rather than putting it in.
Yeah, Bazilica. I wish there was a program where we can do 3D images and like.
Yeah, if only we could have that to hand, loaded up, ready to go.
Actually, do yourself a favor and just take that plane and then copy it and make it really, really big and move it up, and then we have a new playing field.
Yeah, we can do that.
I mean, whatever. If you want to, or create a new level. Oh, then we got the shadow effect. Ooh. You can move it over.
Just grab a few things from here, and then grab
everything. grab all the things. They're all 3 inside the wall to right. What?
You say?
I'm just reading the comments here. So, guys, if anyone's just joined the stream, we're just doing some level design, not riveting or anything like that. We're just having fun. If you have any suggestions of how we can improve these streams, what you'd like to see, then just let us know, you know? And I know people want to see gameplay and stuff like that and yada, yada, yada. And we will do those. But I think it's also important to, you know, put our faces up on the screen and show you guys who we are and what we're doing and not just gameplay. Because, you know, it's not just we're making the game and it's over with and done with. It's a very, very long process, and it takes a lot of effort and time and calculation. And so, yeah, I think some people don't care about that. They just want the finished project, which is totally cool. I get that. But you're going to have to wait.
My life, man.
Yeah.
But I'm working on a map, and I release a tiny little clip of it, or I've done one stream on it. Like, for eternity, people are like, "Oh, have you released that map yet? Where is it? Can I download it?" Nah, I'm still working on it. Oh, what? Next week? No. I've got probably another year to go on it. And then I get asked like 2 weeks later by someone else, "Oh, have you finished that map yet? Have you done that map yet?" It's like, well, no.
Yeah,
like,
I know, right?
Like, I make a huge variety of stuff. So I'm known for making maps in extremely short spaces of time, where I will literally just sit down and go make an entire level in 24 hours flat. I'll stream 24 hours non-stop and make something from scratch to finish. But that is not going to be industry level like greatness. Okay, it's something that's fun to play, and there's good enough unique, interesting, fun new game mechanics and things about the map that make it interesting, you know. And
right.
I have a huge audience of people that enjoy those maps, and I enjoy them too. And sometimes I think that, well, I could either make like 20 or 30 of these projects in a year, you know, if I had the time, or I could make one. Okay, and sometimes, like, yeah, like I have 2 projects at the moment that are those one option, and I have done loads of projects that are the 20 odd, and I have the variety. So sometimes I'm making really high detail stuff, but yeah, sometimes people get them mixed up, and they've seen me make something really quickly, and they think, you know, that
every map is that easy to make,
yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
No biggie, yeah.
What are you doing? Why is it taking so long? They don't understand.
Really quick, I want to shout out to Nick. Nick, thanks for joining the stream, dude. You rock. Joining from California. And I know it's pretty interesting what we're doing here. It's called minimalist game design. Maybe you've heard of it.
Cube done, published, so.
We're cubists. It's it's totally retro. We actually made this game engine by ourselves from scratch.
You don't want to say that, you might get in trouble.
Yeah. All right, we're done. Right?
Pretty much.
So I mean, I know we're just dicking around here, but I think what would be really, really cool is if we can maybe talk a little bit later about maybe your favorite map that you've made.
I was just about to throw something on the screen, actually.
Oh, that would be really cool. I'd like to see what you've done.
It's a bit of a learning.
Are we gonna play Call of Duty tonight? Are we gonna play Call of Duty World War Zombies tonight after the stream?
Maybe, yeah.
It would be really cool if we played the campaign with 2 other people.
Yeah.
You know, that would be really, really dope.
Sure.
On hard, do we play it hard or on super hard?
I don't know, man. Depends how long you want to be playing Call of Duty.
All right, I interrupted you there. I just got really excited. You know, zombies.
Yeah.
So, guys,
But yeah, so I've made about 50 odd projects, and I can quickly just bring these onto the screen here. So
You make Call of Duty Black Ops?
maps.
No.
Yeah, one man show, you know.
You know, I just made a card now. So there's a whole lot of projects here. There's ones like this which I made in, I think I made it in like 12 hours or something, but it's ridiculous. It's a massive twist, like tower of cheese that, you got a cheese weapon as well that shoots blocks of cheese, like a plate of cheese here. It's ridiculous. It's got, yeah.
That's kind of cheesy.
It is really cheesy.
Sorry.
Cheese maze with moving parts on it. And the weird thing is, right, that this map, it took me 12 hours to make. It has 33,000 people that have it installed right now. Like, if you look at my project that I spent about a year making, and you look at the numbers on that, 5,000. So in my head, you can see why I make a lot of like fun, crazy maps compared to like
Right.
highly detailed. It is rewarding, but I like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like getting into.
Can we watch one of the videos, maybe without sound, for that the one?
Yeah, I've
your
got this
favorite one?
ready here. So
Oh, okay.
let me just do this. So I took earlier today. I went through the map and just took a few flyby shots. And yeah, I kind of got a bit bored with this map at one point and just wanted to release it. So if you see some areas that haven't got much detail, it's because they haven't got much detail.
Oh, that's the reasoning behind it.
Yeah. And I like some places are slightly darker, and the reason being is that, like, yeah, so you can see this wall here. If I was given more time, I would go through and dirty it up like this cracked wall here. But I sort of ran out of time on this, and this was more of like a learning project as well, a bit of fun. So this is Twisted Minds. I think I probably did about 70 streams to make this.
You can jump down, but you can't get up.
Yeah,
right?
you can jump down, but you can't get up.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I really like.
So this is like an abandoned mental asylum where they were doing testing on humans and trying to get rid of people's mental mental illusions and stuff, and try and make them normal, but like it led on to create zombies and mutations. So you've actually got behind here, you've got an underground prison as well, where they started doing experiments on them as well. And you can go that way. I think you'll see it in a second. We've got a small library here. Yeah, here, just behind this broken wall, you have you can only just see it there. You have a broken part in the wall where it twists down into like this prison. But you got an elevator system here where they would get there like normally that way.
Ooh, I like it.
And here's a cave system as well. So this is a living mineral cave. And here, I like this part here. Let me just check that down. Because you walk over these planks and you see that there's like this bloody pool of water underneath you that's all lit up. And you can actually go through that water by going around the cave. I think I'll hop to a person here. But yeah. So one of the other aspects that I really wanted to explore with this map was like the horror factor in zombies. No one's really gone down that route. Everyone's always just made all sorts of themed maps. No one's tried to make something that's really rattled someone in zombies. And I just wanted to do something different. So you're going to see in about 5 seconds that there's a jump scare here, but it's a 3D jump scare. And I don't actually look at it, but I forgot it was there when I was recording this. So you might see me jump backwards. But yeah, there it is. Like, like the sounds alone are just freaky. But it's a skeleton that sort of jumps at you. But yeah, this is all really like this whole cave system. That little cave system there was made, I think, in like one stream. So there's not much detail in there. But I took a lot of architectural design like images and sort of worked out how I wanted the building to look, and then built the internal of the building, and then built the external to match the internal design, and then just populated it with loads of stuff. But if I go back, I would certainly do things a lot differently, what I know now. But it's turned out to be a really fun map to play, and yeah.
Well, apparently 5,347 other people think so too.
Yeah, well, they still got it on their drives. I had some good feedback for the map, which is quite good. I did have some other images. Yeah. So, this is just going to be a really light thing of some other work. I think I made this in like 24 hours, or maybe it was 12 hours. It wasn't a lot of time, okay, and I didn't use many assets, and it was really badly done. You're going to see a lot of... I'm going to cringe at a lot of this, but the idea was just to make a crazy ski lodge, ski village, and something that's a bit fun and bright and crazy, because I hadn't seen anything like that, and this was before Ski Resort was released and all a load of other ski maps, and I made it, and it was quite fun, a real challenge.
Are there a lot of ski maps out there?
Now there are. Now there's, yeah, now there's a few. I want to see if I can just... Yeah, there we go. Crazy map. I think I made this in one sitting. So I sat down, streamed 30 hours, and then released it. It's a world that's sort of flying islands, and it's got...
Wait. You streamed for 30 hours, and you designed the map from the beginning to the end?
Yeah,
live.
Absolutely everything to finish, to publish, to people be able to play it in one sitting, yeah. And it's got so many different things to it. This was another crazy project. I think I did this in like 3 or 4 streams, but I think the cumulative time was about 12 hours. And this is basically take the Great Wall of China, make it into a zombies map, point to point, try and survive for as long as you can. You got to keep doors getting more and more expensive.
Oh my god, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it was good. It worked really well. And then it wasn't hard enough, so I made a hardcore edition where there's more doors. Doors are more expensive. There's less frequent perks and things and abilities you can pick up. And I changed
You're evil.
Fog. That's a dragon. There's a big freaking dragon in this map flying around.
Oh man.
Yeah. You start off down here on this tower. You're sort of defending from the ones coming over here, and then when you can't defend anymore, you got to rush out that door, and then they start spawning out of the ground and up, like climbing over the walls in places, and yeah, and there's another tower here, so they spawn like from in there, and they come around here and break through barriers, and you got to try and keep progressing. So I made them Templar zombies. I made them red because I can do what I want with my maps, and yeah, I just wanted to make something a bit different. And I'll wrap this up quick, but I spent a bit more time on this. This was like a Tron themed map. I liked film Tron, or the Tron films, so I made the End of Line Club, and it was really fun to make something futuristic because of the geo work. So all of this is, none of this is models, all of this is geometry, like BSP work, and yeah, it's fun to do. Another quick project, made that in I think 2 streams, 12 hours or something. I wanted to make everything in this house not straight. So this is the wacky house, okay? The chair's wonky, wacky, the tail's wacky, the stairs are wacky, the ceiling's wacky. Everything's twisted and warped. I didn't realise it'll look like Shrek until I made it. It does look like Shrek. So yeah, Game of Thrones style map, that was good fun. Yeah, all sorts of genres, futuristic. Made this for charity to try and help raise funds for the Team Trees Mr. Beast thing. That worked quite well. Made that pretty quick. That's pretty much it. So there's a load of other that I didn't add in, but yeah, that's the other point. 8 coats, yeah, rage-inducing maps. That's what that's my genre. Because I like I want to play something that's fun, and for me, it's got to be really difficult. Like because otherwise I'm gonna find it fun. The amount of people that release maps and content that is like too easy and that you could do it blindfolded, so I can't. There's no fun in that. There's like, to me, there's many pillars that make a great game, okay, and you got to make sure you meet all those pillars. And I always describe it like a table, okay? The table is where you put all your things on, okay? And how high that table is how good the game is, okay? But if you make one leg that's too long, everything's going to fall off the table, okay? You got to keep everything on the table. If you have a leg that's too short, everything's going to fall off the table, okay? Maybe you've got a 4-legged table, but one of the legs is a bit short. That's okay. It can still balance, okay? But as long as you're like trying to meet all the demands of what makes a great game, and to me, like the pillars are, one is the difficulty of the game. You don't want something
it's all about level design, right?
Level design, exactly. So to me, the first pillar like is about the difficulty. You don't want to make it too easy, because then people are going to get disinterested quickly. You don't want to make it too difficult, because people are going to give up and walk away from it. You want to find where that balance is and find the perfect balance. The perfect balance, you can get as close to it as you can, but when you find that's a great attribute that you want to have. So that's one of the table legs. The second is the aesthetics. You want something to look good. You don't want something to look like they've just taken it like blank and thrown it in. It's nothing. You need something that looks good, that people are wowed by or intrigued by or interested in seeing, something that excites people's minds, and like so something that looks good, okay? And that covers loads of aspects. There's animation, there's the sound design and everything. It's got to be the level of the professional level of the game, and the aesthetics and the ambiance of it.
But it's interesting because all of that is pointless unless the core concept works and that core loop is there.
It kind of leads into my next leg, which is the replayability factor. So how many times you're going to come back to the game, how replayable it is. If you play the game once, okay, and then if you play the game the second time and it's the same experience as the first time, you're doing something wrong. You need to be able to play the game and have loads of subtle changes, and there could be loads of different ways that you achieve this through progression systems, or unlocking stuff or different aspects in the levels to make it different in how you play it. But replayability, there's so many different things that cover replayability, but how replayable the game is a big factor.
Totally. But also, I mean, the maps experience that you have, those are all PvE maps, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I think that from a design perspective, you can design a map with that in mind, but players do some crazy stuff. Like with Seneca, when I was doing the game testing with some of the other developers, I was like, wait, that's not how you're supposed to. And then I caught myself. I'm like, what? Who am I to tell them how to play the map or not, and which way they should go or what they should be able to jump on or not. But it's definitely cool. The whole human factor, it's hard to calculate what people are going to do with a map. So
I think it's a lot of testing that needs to go into to make it right, and then take all the feedback, work on it, improve bits, and make it work. So
how much further do you want to go tonight?
Well, considering it's a Devstream, we haven't really we've done some good planning though, and I think we've covered a lot of aspects that will help create stuff. So
definitely. I think for the next Devstream, we can pick up from here, and then we can take what we talked about with the concept and look at it again with fresh eyes and say, is this what we really want? And then maybe put together a very basic, or we do it now, volume, and see what it would look like. Ooh. Whoa.
So I would probably just map in one axis to start off with, and then level stuff off. later on. So yeah, so I would mainly get the design down first here,
Right.
and then start adjusting. Yeah. So also you also need references for perspectives. You get. I think that's a problem that a lot of people, like level designers, make when they start making something, is they don't have reference objects. They start designing a room, and then when you put a player in the room, it's a big room because they haven't. Yeah. So I think the number one thing is throw a player like into the map as you're working with it. So we got these player nodes here.
Right.
I think what's better is probably if we can get one of the models here. I don't know these assets yet, so
Just type in mannequin
cool.
somewhere, but not in that particular folder. Man.
Can I spell mannequin? No, that's the real
I
question.
think
I don't know.
double N.
Have you ever had to spell it? Okay, here we go. Any one of these? Or
Yeah.
these animation sequence? I mean,
It's actually cool. You put it in and it'll work.
oh, okay.
Oh, it's first person though. If it
Alright,
says
let me-
one,
Yeah, let me
first-
just do it like a skeletal mesh. Yeah. There we go. Cool. So
Manny.
we've got this guy in here, my man. Let's
Right.
go to top view. So you can see he's that wide. So you have a reference point. The more reference points you put in, the better you're going to be able to scale something. But of course, you're going to want to adjust stuff. So when I start doing a block out, I'll get the rough sort of layout. I get all the core features in. So I'll build this as a block. I'll build this as a block.
You can
And,
copy that first one, then, right?
Yeah.
You
Sorry.
can probably the cell blocks. You can just do one and then copy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's never do something twice in level design if you can work with something that already exists and modify it into something else. So yeah, differentiation is important, but also you don't need to double your work if you've already made something that's. So as the size of a person, how big would a cell tower be? So
Well, that's a good question. Don't forget that the brute is 1 point. Patty, is it 1.2 or 1.3 times a mannequin size? I forget because.
I don't know.
Okay, never mind. Sorry. Sorry, Patty was in the call there with us. So one of our coders. So we had the problem with that when designing the stuff, that we had to make sure that all the doors were of a certain size, so Brute could get through those doors. But then because we want to have a nice big character, but then we realized that making all the doors big enough for him to get through,
look weird.
it looks so weird. So that the problem was that we needed to make custom animations that play every time he actually enters a door. And then it's like, what do you do if he stops in the middle of the door and he goes back? Then you've got to think about that variable. So yeah, it makes it very complicated. So to answer your question, we actually already have these in the map. Prison towers. We have all the assets for it, and they're starting to be putting together. But you need to make sure that the question is maybe write tower, and then you see all the access, all the. Oh, and that's for the bridge. That's for the drawbridge. Oh, those are all tower pieces. Oh my god.
I think you had one that's already put together in the hangars.
So if we put him up there, or Manny, then you can just see from a scaling, or copy him or something like that, and you can see.
if we did a good job with the scaling. So I always like to think, can I have 3 people in this area having like in combat, or 4? Because you want to have, don't forget you've got the AI as well. Like I almost think that is, so that's supposed to be going around the tower, right? I don't know if it's big enough. What's he standing on?
This tower. I might just add now, guys, that I have not worked on this project yet. So when I become familiar with the assets, it'll be a lot quicker to make stuff.
Totally. So we tried to design this as modular as possible. That's why there's a lot of different pieces, and you know, that blueprint I just whacked together and created, but just to make it easier from a design perspective.
I see what you've done here. Okay.
I don't know how clean my work is. Like the idea of Tinker's ability seems really stealthy. Lock popping, be able to incognito. That's my kind of player. Ooh, we've got another Tinker fan. Oh, so Zadie, if you can do me a favor, if you can post or I can do it actually. We've got a questionnaire for you guys to fill out, which would be really, really cool. Gives us a better idea of what's going on and what you guys think about the game. So, yeah. Do us a solid and fill that out. And if you haven't joined the Discord channel, I think the Nightbot posts that like every half an hour. Hey, join the Discord channel. Hey, join the Discord channel. Hey, we got a Discord channel. But yeah. Joran, yes, you are #1 fan, and you have already filled out the questionnaire. But other people, they're not #1 fan like you. Not everyone is a #1 fan.
What if I go steal your cell block and modify?
Yeah, go for it. Are we blowing your mind 8 coats with all the different variations, branches of different character abilities? Oh my god! Insanity!
I'm wondering how much you've, or how much we've like released about the, well, any gameplay. Is there nothing out? Yeah.
No, we haven't done. Well, I think we did a Discord stream about a month ago with like, but it was a spontaneous thing. We didn't plan it out at all. So.
And that's not being recorded anywhere. Like.
No. Why? Did you want to play something? Go ahead. You can play if you want.
No. I was just wondering.
Oh my god. What is it? Is that all lights that I put in there?
Yeah, I'm gonna do some magic.
Oh my god.
So I'm gonna do copy and then deselect. Go back to my level. Paste.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's there.
Oh, word. I would group that if I were you, so you don't lose it.
Yeah. Well, I've got 32 gig RAM, so it should be okay. But yeah, I think it's probably a good idea to group.
8 codes. Awesome. We mind blown successful. Hey, you got this if I go take a leak?
Go for it. Yeah.
All right. Now you guys can talk about it.
So yeah, it's really cool, guys. You're probably wondering what my involvement is, or maybe you're not, but now you are because I've said something about it. Basically, Jezza hit me up about getting involved and maybe making some stuff. So I have always wanted to get into making stuff in Unreal and working with Unreal, because I use Radiant, and of course there's Call of Duty, so anything I'm going to make in Radiant is just going to be for Call of Duty. And I think, yeah, it's always been a plan to move over to Unreal, but yeah, I never really have. And then Pavlov came along with their open workshop, so I started monkeying around in Unreal and messing about, and I did a whole load of streams on it, and ended up making a few projects that were pretty cool. Let me show you. Oh, it's only showing back. I'll show you. Should be able to find my Pavlov. Maybe it's on the next page. Right, I go to this and go to workshop. Here it is. I made this, and I made this in like, and so I actually spoke to Jezza a long time ago. And we had a chat, and this was pre me actually getting into Unreal at all. And he said, "Oh yeah, it sounds really cool. Paraphrasing, definitely do something." And then like we didn't really speak much for a while, and I got into making this crazy design. So this was using a lot of like assets from the marketplace, like free assets. But then I let me take a drink. Then I added my own spin. It's really not good. I need some water. Let me drink some more water.
Water.
That's water. I got water here, and I got other types of water. Yeah, so I made this, which I made in just like a crazy short time. I think I took like 4 or 5 days off work and just went crazy and made it in 4 or 5 days with like little or no experience, other than my existing Radiant experience. I ended up making something that was pretty cool, really fun to play, and yeah, I was a lot of like skills from Radiant that are transferable. A lot of keybinds are different, but yeah, it's good fun to swap it over. So this is a VR like Counter-Strike type of game. Put some melee weapons in there. It's good fun.
Ooh.
So yeah, and that is. I made another map after that, and I've made a few other bits and pieces as well. But yeah, I thought it'd be good to jump in and get involved.
Cool. Yeah, I think in any project, it lives or dies by passion. You need to like what you're doing. And, I saw that you were so motivated and with all the maps you were doing. And I thought, man, you're learning so much and stuff, but not doing it in a quote unquote real game engine. It's kind of almost like wasted talent, and you might as well switch over to Unreal because it's such a powerful engine. You can do so many amazing things with it. And I'm so glad that you did that, made the jump. My mind is blown with the possibilities.
Yeah, I've always been like writing down ideas for games. Like while I was in college, while I was in school, I was always just coming up with crazy ideas. I used to make games as well, actually, when I was in school. I probably started off when I was like 9 or 10 or something, and like monkeying around in PowerPoint trying to make some weird like animations and stuff, and then like using Game Maker like a long time ago to make all these little games, and then like I think mods was like modding games and changing how they play and stuff was where I sort of expressed my interest in games development. But yeah, I definitely should stick with this.
Hey, listen, I think let's call it a night. if you don't mind, or you want to keep on going?
Yeah, we can call it a night. We've had a good discussion, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think at
bases
this point, that's all we really wanted to do. Just talk about it briefly, and a lot more things, which is great. And yeah, I think it's important to just shoot the shit a little bit sometimes. And hopefully next time we can prepare a little bit of this concept, or we can do it next time. And that's a good starting point then. Yeah?
I mean, next time we come back, you'll see some stuff that we've done. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, or that, you know. Cool.
Yeah. That's been great.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for joining our first dev stream in a very long time. And we hope to do this on a more regular basis. No promises, but I mean, what do you say? Maybe we can do this like once a month for now, for starters?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And we can get some other people in on the stream. You know, I really like the fact that, you know, we got the whole green screen thing going on. It's so cool. So, yeah. I think bringing people on with the green screen, it's makes it look good. But yeah, thank you very much, and don't forget to wish list Cold Comfort if you want to continue with the progress, and tell your friends about it. The more people that like it, that is sadly it's a metric that all the investors and publishers are keen on knowing about. So the more people know about a game like this, the better it is. So, all right, everybody, thanks a lot.
Take care, people. See you soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.